And welcome back to Bias Sports Talk Show. I'm your host, Liam Carroll. Joining me in the booth is hockey enthusiast Chase Draus.
We were playing whale noises before this.
He's had a long day. And the losing team's fan, the 76ers, Ben Snyder.
What's up, Boston?
Yeah, you should see him right now. He is decked out in all Sixers gear, which I don't blame him. Sixers have had a phenomenal year, but jumping right into it.
We can't
right
trust
now,
the process anymore. We can't trust the process.
Totally trust the process. Are you kidding me?
They're still young. We'll keep trusting the process.
They
for
were
now,
a cellar team 2 years ago, and now they're like one of the best teams in the East. I give props to the Sixers, but my Celtics are just doing better. In case you're wondering, Game 4 for the Celtics game is on right now. Celtics currently lead 3-0, and right now Philadelphia is winning 39-38 in the second quarter
40 to 38.
of the game. All right, it's close enough, but anyway, I want to jump into it for our last show of the year. Yes, unfortunately, this is the last show. Next week starts finals, so everyone has to focus on that and not listen to this. But right now, as the aforementioned, Celtics are leading the Sixers right now in the series 3-0. Now, this was something a lot of people predicted could not happen. I mean, even up front, people were saying, "Oh, Celtics are gonna get knocked out by the Bucks," and even now, a lot of people were saying Sixers were going to beat the Celtics. Ben, just whenever you're ready for that. He's got something to play for us.
Yeah, so let's flash back 1 week ago to our show last week.
All right, so Sixers, Celtics.
Sixers in 4.
Savannah, that's a very bold statement.
And,
We got a fight here.
We got a fight! Yo, let them throw punches! Seriously, come on!
In case you're wondering, I am not missing Game 4, so I'm actually just going to be flashing into it during it. But it will not affect how...
it's going to affect me. You kidding me, too? They're throwing punches.
That's why I'm back up. Anyway,
But
so...
to, to be fair, I was not the only one who was predicting that the Sixers were not only going to win this series, but also...
Just dominate.
Yeah.
Roll the clip.
Max Kellerman, Molly.
What? Get to it. Come on, I need to know.
I'm pulling a Max. I'm pulling a Max here.
pulling a Max here.
I'm allowed one of these.
You're
a year.
allowing
What?
evidence.
I'm allowing one of these a year.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have an announcement to make.
What?
I have an announcement to make.
What are they selling?
I am no longer on this bandwagon that the Cleveland Cavaliers, meaning LeBron James.
Mike Wazowski, you forgot your paperwork.
Okay, just keep playing it.
We'll get to the NBA Finals.
What? Why?
Ladies and gentlemen, I made a mistake last week when I said that the Philadelphia 76ers
Because you didn't hand in your paperwork.
Okay, stop.
are going to the conference final. I was wrong. I'm picking the Philadelphia 76ers to go all the way to the final. I am of the belief that the Philadelphia 76ers are the team to beat, and they are going to the final.
So that was Stephen A. Smith on ESPN's First Take
And that was
on
the
April
moment.
23rd.
And that was the moment where the 76ers lost all hope of making it there.
They lost all hope when Charles Barkley said the Sixers were going to sweep. Because, seriously, Barkley's always wrong. I mean, tremendous respect. He was a phenomenal player. And you know what? Similarly, I have great respect for Stephen A. Smith. I think he's a good analyst. Is he crazy at times? Is he absolutely absurd? Yes, but
And he also
he's
doesn't-
intelligent about the game.
Oh, he knows a lot about the games, and he knows which players usually are going to make an impact. But he's
Except for
wrong.
Porzingis. But.
Yeah. Did he really
What?
say Porzingis was going to be
He
bad?
said
Oh, he
Porzingis-
was never on the Porzingis train.
livid about Porzingis. He said Phil Jackson made the worst mistake he possibly could. But you know, he was wrong. But he's
That
big.
was maybe the only good thing Phil Jackson did.
Legitimately, he saw the potential in the unicorn. But you know what? It's similar. It's like in the last game. It was like these have been really good games. They've been nail biter, and this has not just been in the Sixers Celtics. It's been in the whole NBA. I'll get to that later. But Saturday night for the Sixers Celtics game, it went into overtime, and it came down to close to the last play in overtime where Al Horford, off of Brad Stevens' play, hit a layup that would eventually be the game winner. And afterwards, I saw people saying, there's like even Jaylen Brown, Al Horford, they were giving props to Brad Stevens saying, I've never seen plays drawn up like that before. He said, this guy looks at basketball a different way. He understands everything, and he executes it. Even even Kobe Bryant, one of the greatest players of all time, in my mind, the second greatest player of all time. He said about Brad Stevens, he said he looks at the game with such an analytic perspective, he can understand things before. And he said he sent everyone up. He knew the Sixers were going to overplay with their youthfulness and aggressiveness. That's how they got 5. Throws a simple layup to Al Horford, and it's in. If Brad Stevens doesn't win Coach of the Year, I'm going to be very upset.
Well, I mean, clearly it's going to be the Phoenix Suns coach. I mean, they had a spectacular season. I'm not sure what you're talking about.
All right, just because they got Devin Booker doesn't mean they were good.
Well, I was listening to the Will Kane show a couple days ago, I think, and they were talking about, like, if you had an NBA draft, like if you were starting a franchise and you could pick whatever players you want and whatever coaches you want, how many players would you be willing to take ahead of Brad Stevens? Like, to have Brad Stevens as your head coach is just one of the most valuable things.
I mean,
and he's proving it right now because arguably his 3 best players are dealing with injuries.
Yeah,
and they're still dominating my Sixers.
All right, well, let's put it this way. I'm going to butt into this conversation. If I had the first, like, all right, what pick do I have? Like, you know, like, how many teams are going before me here? Like, just
let's just say there's the full 30 teams.
All right, the full 30 teams.
Pick number 1.
All right.
How are you willing? And you have to pick coaches as well. So are you picking a player first, or are you taking a coach to build players around? Because what are you going to do?
Be very honest, I think probably it'd be a good idea to do probably pick Stevens first, because I'll say this much. You have to set up for your future. And, I mean, granted, 76ers, prime example. They built a team. They were able to execute, trust the process. But I'm sorry, if the 76ers didn't have that GM in charge and if they didn't have that coach, you really think they would be this far?
I mean, they certainly have talented players, and they made very good selections in the draft.
Yeah, so
but
that's management as well.
Totally what it comes down to is that I think last year, there are 4 players remaining from the team that got to the Eastern Conference Finals last year for the Celtics. 4 players. They had, 8 or 9 new players, and they're getting just as far. They're doing even better than they were doing last year, arguably. And the only reason they lost in the Eastern Conference Final was because their only scorer on the team, Isaiah Thomas, was hurt. So,
I don't think that's the only reason, but I definitely think that was definitely a large part. That was a large part of the equation. I mean, I'm sorry, LeBron was hot at that point. Like
they were versing playoff LeBron. And speaking of playoff LeBron, have you guys been seeing his play? Like right now, in the Eastern Conference semifinals, they are up. The Cavaliers, are up 3-0 on the Toronto Raptors, the number 1 seed in the East. This is crazy.
The Raptors are great in the regular season, and then in the playoffs they just terrible.
They didn't do terrible in the first round, 4-2 against the Wizards. Wizards are a very talented team. On paper, I honestly think they have the best team in the league, but they're just in the playoffs. Colorado, they completely forget how to play basketball. I think in game one, they had, I believe, 4 opportunities to either tie the game or take the lead in the game in the final 2 minutes. It was, I think they missed 2 3-pointers and 2 layups. I'm like, first of all, you should not miss a layup in the NBA. I mean, granted, I understand if there's contact or not, but you're a professional player, you should not miss a layup. And 3-pointers, if you're a 3-point shooter, you gotta hit them, especially late in the game. But they cannot close out basketball games. I mean, granted, LeBron James is playing out of his mind. I think his averages right now are 34.5 points per game, 8.9 assists a game, and 9.8 rebounds a game. He's not averaging nearly a triple-double in the playoffs. He's playing the greatest basketball I personally have ever witnessed. So, can it even be a surprise that the Raptors are down right now?
One player should not dictate an entire series. That's true with any team sport. All right? Granted, I mean, you got to look at the other factors of this series. Kevin Love is playing phenomenal. He's being that solid,
Not particularly. He scored 31 points in Game 3, That's the first time any Cavaliers player has
31 in
scored.
Game 2.
Yeah, Game 2.
21 in Game 3.
Yeah, but that's the first time another Cavaliers player had scored over 30 points in the entire playoffs. But I mean, of course, besides LeBron James. But,
yeah, it's just it's one of those things.
Kevin Love is playing such a small role on the Cavs. Like when he was with the Timberwolves, he was undoubtedly the best big man in the game. He could knock down threes at 40%. He grabbed you 13 rebounds a game with 4 of those being offensive.
So you're saying if Kevin Love leaves the team right now that they're gonna completely demolish every way and win a championship without Kevin Love?
I'm saying they need better people to fit into the system. They're using Kevin Love as a spot-up shooter right now when he's much more than that. They should get someone who's just Chris Bosh worked perfectly because he had a great jump shot and he could drive. Kevin Love is so soft, he cannot drive. He can barely dunk and he's 6'10". He can shoot threes, so what are the teams doing? They're closing out hard on him because they know he's not going to drive. He's going to stay for that pull-up three or the pull-up mid-range. He's not going to take him to the post. And if you keep on the perimeter, you take away a big rebounding factor. And so you completely shut him down.
Yeah, but that leaves LeBron wide open.
No matter what LeBron does, he's going to be wide open. I don't care.
But honestly,
I don't care.
Liam,
I don't care.
Liam, you
put
say
on
it
LeBron, he's
yourself.
going to score.
Play your role. And you know what? If they have to try and eliminate him and just let LeBron do whatever, I mean, you said it yourself. He's scoring 30, 40 a night.
Yeah.
And guess what? If they keep putting all their focus on, LeBron James, then guess what? Kevin Love's going to be open. If they put all their focus on Kevin Love, guess what? LeBron's going to be open.
But that's the thing. A lot of strategies that teams are doing right now, and I've seen them do it before. They let LeBron go one-on-one. Because if they shut down the rest of the team and LeBron scores 50, even the Warriors did that. They put Draymond Green on LeBron. LeBron scores 45, has 9 assists, 8 rebounds, and the Cavaliers lose. God bless you. Score 70 a night if you want to. If you're going to lose, I'll let you score however many you want. I don't really care. And that's a strategy because right now, there's not a lot of people in the league who can stop him. But I think Stephen A. Smith said on First Take, I think yesterday or today, I'm not sure. He said that they're saying the question is that the Raptors are intimidated by LeBron right now. They don't know how to handle him. Oh, do you think the Celtics, a much younger team, are going to be able to do that? And they're like,
yes.
No.
Celtics can definitely keep LeBron and pull essentially a Golden State.
They will not collapse like the Raptors. I totally believe the Celtics are capable of being Cavaliers. I looked up some stats yesterday. Versus the Celtics this year, LeBron James is averaging 24.5 points per game, well below his average usually. And his rebounds and assists are down across the board. But then specifically, he played 2 games in TD Garden this year, averaged 21 points a game. So I'm saying if LeBron can't play, the Celtics know how to stop him. I think right now they got 2 guys who can definitively hold LeBron. I mean, obviously there's no stopping LeBron. They can hold him. It's Marcus Smart, but that's not ideal because he's not as big as LeBron. He's got LeBron's got 4 inches on him and probably 30, 40 pounds. Or you can go with Jaylen Brown, who has the height but not quite the weight, but he's just as quick as LeBron.
Yeah.
So I think it's more or less confirmed, unless some dramatic comeback happens, that it's going to be Celtics versus Cavaliers in the Eastern Conference Finals. Unless something dramatic happens.
I really want to see Celtics Raptors because I feel like that's going to be a more entertaining series than LeBron and the Cavs.
Yeah, plus it'll be easier for the Celtics.
It's not even the fact that it'd be easier because honestly I don't think the Raptors against the Celtics it's not going to be a walk in the park. I can tell you that right now. It's not going to be a walk in the park, but it's going to be a more entertaining series because I mean it's getting to the point where it's LeBron's dropping 40 a night, but honestly it's starting to I mean, I'll give him credit. This season, he has definitely been branching out his game, doing a lot more, a lot different of things. But beforehand, LeBron was kind of a one-trick pony. I mean, he would score, he would pull off these crazy plays, but it's just all right, yeah, we get it. There's got to be more. And I mean, he's doing that this season. So I mean, but let's just hope that he can, keep being, a little bit innovative and really just try to develop as a player. Because I mean, if he just stays where he is,
Well, a team's never come back from down 3-0 in an NBA series. It's happened in NHL, MLB, but
yeah.
You know what?
So halftime here, the Sixers are up by 4. I don't see either of them happening, obviously. But if it does, I think the
It's-
Sixers are more likely to come
I
back.
think,
but
because the
even that's
Raptors right
not gonna
now, like
happen.
honestly, they just look defeated. The Sixers, on the other hand, like if it does happen, they got youth, they got aggressiveness. But I'll give them this: if they win tonight, Game 4, that's big for them. But then Game 5, they're going back to TD Garden. And so far, not a single team in the playoffs has won a game in TD Garden, and that's big, defending your home court in the playoffs.
Yeah, and yeah,
it's
I
killing
mean,
me though, because
okay.
the Sixers could easily be up 2-1 right now.
Oh yeah, 100%.
They've just
Like the Sixers have a very complete team right now.
yeah.
I mean, off season it's gonna be tough because honestly, like, what do you need? Like, really, like, what's like the big thing you?
I think the Sixers need time. I think that's really all, like, time to mature and grow.
Let people mature. I think Ben Simmons' big thing is like.
I mean, if
like,
anything,
work
pick
on
up
his jump shot.
I mean, if anything,
make sure he gets a semblance of a jump shot.
If Embiid can stay healthy long term, they're set for the future. It's going to be Celtics Sixers in the East for a long time.
Oh yeah, the
think.
rivalry is back on, and I'm so excited for that. All right.
Yeah.
I think
it's been a lot of time.
I
want to move on to the. I got a beds covered today, so moving on to the Western Conference real quick. I don't think we're as brushed up on the Western Conference. The Eastern Conference, that's okay. Warriors are up 3-1 on the Pelicans right now.
Pelicans won a game.
They did win a game.
They did win a game.
Yeah, Anthony Davis is like 43 a night. But
yeah,
I mean,
Anthony Davis will get you one.
yeah, that's about it.
but
That's
yeah,
about
like
it.
honestly, the Pelicans getting this far, it's like honestly they survived the first round, swept the Blazers. They should be happy with that. They're missing DeMarcus Cousins, but I feel if DeMarcus Cousins was in, that's an entirely different ball game.
I think it'd probably be tied 2-2 if they had DeMarcus Cousins.
Oh yeah, because the Warriors have no big men to match the combo of Davis and DeMarcus.
Well, I mean, let's be real. Who can actually stop DeMarcus?
Stop AD.
I mean, like,
Both
really,
great.
at one point, it's like, all right, you want one guy to score 20 or 30, or you want the other guy to play 30? Like, but
then Rockets up 3-1 on the Jazz right now. Rockets are obviously the favorite to win the Western Conference right now.
I think the Jazz are gonna be able to come back from it.
don't
I think they might get one more win, but I'm not sure.
Donovan Mitchell's playing great, but legitimately, he's the only source of offense on that team. I mean, Joe Ingles playing great. I love Joe Ingles. If you have some time, research him. He's done a lot of good for his community in his home country of Australia. But, like, honestly, you got James Harden, you got Chris Paul. That's the best backcourt in the NBA by far.
Well, I mean, isn't that the starting for Team USA as well?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the start for Team USA.
I mean, good luck, but
Yeah, so
I mean, I think right now the Jazz, they just need to get probably like a solid top 50 player, besides and then I think they'll probably be set.
Oh, they're doing quite well.
I think Rockets Warriors will be the Western Conference Finals,
That-
and then that will be the de facto
That would be
finals,
so
because
entertaining.
I don't see.
I mean, yeah,
I don't
that's
see any
that's
teams
what-
in the East that can beat either of them in a 7-game series.
I can totally see it.
I think
I
the
can
I
totally
think
see
the
it. Celtics
I
can
don't-
do it.
Celtics have beaten the Warriors, but then again, that was with Kyrie.
Yeah, but they beat the Warriors.
They beat
They
the Warriors.
came back from they beat the Rockets as well with Marcus Smart just completely shutting down James Harden.
So I mean,
Yeah, but a 7-game series though.
I think they have a possibility, but like if the Celtics
Okay.
make it to the finals
I mean, it
and,
is
and
biased.
lose to the Rockets, I'm
It
okay
is
with
biased
that.
sports talk, so
I'm
I
okay.
guess.
okay,
Well,
I'll say this much. If the Celtics beat the Cavs, more than likely, I'm calling it. That's probably going to happen. Celtics, I think, are genuinely going to go to the finals. And if I'm wrong, I know Ben's going to put a sad noise on the podcast on YouTube. But you know what? It is what it is. But if the Celtics go to the finals, no matter what, it's going to Game 7.
Oh yeah.
I mean, whether it's Celtics Warriors or Celtics Rockets, it's going to Game 7.
Oh yeah. This has been by far the best playoffs I've ever seen.
I mean, it's actually it's making the NBA relevant again because it's actually entertaining basketball. It's not just like, oh hey, look, the Cavs 1-4. Oh hey,
Oh boy,
look,
it's
the
LeBron
Warriors.
and Curry again. Wonder what's gonna happen this time.
Oh hey, look, another Game 7 between these two. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
wow, so exciting. One trick pony.
Moving on to something that Chase will find a bit more exciting: the NHL playoffs right now. Leading off, once again, a death of a Boston sports team season this year. The Tampa Bay Lightning defeat the Boston Bruins 4-1. I'm not happy with this. I'm not happy because the opening game, Boston won 6-2. So I'm like, wow,
The Lightning figured out how they played. I mean, the Lightning
game.
have had the Bruins number all season.
Yeah.
The Lightning know how to beat the Bruins. It's a lot like the Carolina Hurricanes and the Bruins in the mid 2000s. They just have their number.
Yep. There's always that one team you can't beat. Always that one team you can't beat.
Yeah, I mean, like I've dealt with it in youth hockey where there was this one team, there's the 6th seed, and they were the 5 seed, and we were the 2 seed. Every time we played them, it was always a close game, and it was just we played our hearts out and we just could not get a win against them. But
it's unfortunate. I mean, honestly, I consider this a pretty disappointing season for the Bruins because they had, I think, one of the best seasons in recent memory. Came in as a pretty high seed in the NHL, and then to lose in the second round
to the number 1 team in the league.
I mean, granted, yes, but still, it's kind of like we kind of wanted more from this season.
Well, yeah, of course you did. It's hockey. Literally, if you don't go home with a championship, I mean, how many videos have you seen of NBA or not even NHL players? They don't get medals, but like, Olympic hockey players. Whenever they get a bronze or silver medal, they literally just throw it out.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's
hockey
is win or go home, and most of the time when you go home without a win, you're pretty upset. But yeah, Caps up on the Pens. I'm really
really excited.
I want Ovechkin to win. I hate the Caps. Because they drive me crazy.
I hate the Penguins.
But I hate the Penguins more because I'm sorry, Sidney Crosby. No, like really, you need to get.
That's the thing for me. It's not even the Penguins I don't like. It's just
Sidney
Crosby.
He can literally get away with anything. He's literally broken fingers, sloof at people. Like this kid can do no wrong in the eyes of the league because he's making them money. But however,
I hate Sidney Crosby.
I mean, look up the video of him breaking some guy's finger. I mean, really, look it up because. It is a blatant slash. The ref sees it, and then literally the guy shows it to the refs, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't do it." And then they, the NHL, they didn't do anything about it. They're just like, "Oh, it's an unfortunate accident." I don't think that was an accident.
Punk. He's gonna get away with it. Bigger news: the expansion team, Las Vegas Golden Knights, beating the Sharks 4-2 to move on to their conference finals. This is the first of all, an expansion team in any sport has never made the playoffs, let alone get to the conference finals. I mean,
I'm calling it right now. I'm calling it Caps Knights. That's what it's gonna be. I don't think
I'd love to see that.
I would love to see that because you know what, Ovi's gonna be playing his heart out, and we're all gonna want to see Ovi win a cup. And then again, there's Vegas, and we really want to see them win a cup.
I would rather see an expansion team win than
yeah,
Ovechkin.
That'd be so cool. I mean,
and I don't hate Ovechkin by any means, but to see an expansion team win a championship in their first year would be absolutely incredible.
And think about it this way. With all that Las Vegas has gone through, and I mean, we've talked about it where it's, like the whole, a tragedy happens, with a sports team and they just do phenomenal. I mean, it happened with the Bruins, it happened with the Patriots, it's happened with a lot of different teams. You know what? I actually think that this, like the Knights winning this Stanley Cup, like that would solidify them as a hockey town. Like, no doubt. I mean, like their fans are already insane. Like, I mean, they have, Las Vegas, it's obviously a showy town. Where you're going to see a lot of, Elvises walking around. I mean, I can't count how many times I've seen the Vegas Golden Knights Instagram with, Elvises, decked out in Knights jerseys. But I really, they got, this, glow-in-the-dark marching band kind of a dig right now. And honestly, it's phenomenal. And then on top of that, you literally can just, pick up, any, opening band. Oh, hey, you want to make a couple extra bucks? Here, play a concert here for, the Knights. That's they're offering the full entertainment thing where it's like bringing in casual fans and making them diehard fans, because it's just like they just see you know what, hey, the game's actually pretty good, and we got to see this other stuff too. It's like it's just, Las Vegas, they did it right. Management did it right. The coaches are doing phenomenal. The players are playing their hearts out. You know what? Go Knights.
They've set a new standard for expansion teams in the future.
I mean, they set a standard for other teams to follow too. I mean, you don't think that Florida could do this? You don't think Tampa? Maybe not Florida, but whatever the closest. I think the Florida Panthers, aren't they in Miami? I'm not quite sure.
I think so.
I mean, seriously, you can't get I'm not quite sure. I'm not sure which one's closer to Miami, but seriously, you tell me you can't pick up some local artists to go play there, or I mean, even Boston kind of does this with Dropkick Murphys. So I mean, yeah, okay, but I mean, yeah, it's really they've done a lot, and the NBA, I really don't know what they do for halftime shows. I've never seen them. Like I know
I've
there's
been
this
to a
one
few
lady
NBA
who
games, and there's like a woman who like tosses balls on top of her.
yeah,
head.
that's
pretty
about.
cool.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
Besides that, they have like youth basketball games and like dunk shows.
The
but,
Sixers games that I've been to, they usually just have a bunch of kids come out, play for 10 minutes, and
Yeah, it's really boring. You kind of just like go to the bathroom, just like kind of just get something to eat or something. It's really boring. All right, and then the last series, the Winnipeg Jets are up 3-2 on the Nashville Predators.
Team Jericho,
I'm
let's go!
I'm being honest. I don't even care about that series right now. It has
It
little
is
to
an
no.
entertaining
It
series.
is little to no
It is
effect on my
entertaining.
life.
Like this is gonna create a rivalry. Like, Winnipeg is, like I know they're not a new team. Like they've had like this, prestigious history beforehand, but this is the new Winnipeg, and Nashville is still a pretty young team compared to others. So I think this is gonna create a rivalry, and I think this is gonna, really, the NHL has just been just as entertaining as the NBA in my opinion, because I mean, like, there have been so many back and forth series. I mean, the Bruins and the Maple Leafs, that was a phenomenal series. You look at Las Vegas, just being Las Vegas, you get, man, the Capitals playing I think it was Caps Wild. No, who was playing the Wild? I think it was either Caps or Pittsburgh.
I think it was the Avalanche.
No, the Avs are playing the Preds, and that was actually pretty good to see. Colorado, like a lot of teams that you weren't expecting to do well actually didn't do that bad. I mean, granted, the Avalanche lost. We all knew it was going to happen.
Pittsburgh was playing my Flyers.
Yeah, and I mean, like the Pittsburgh Flyers,
Flyers put up a good fight.
They
Flyers
did.
put up a good fight. I'll give them that.
They did.
I mean, for what they have, I mean, the Flyers, essentially they just got to go through the processing, because I mean, Claude Giroux isn't not going to be able to play forever, sadly.
He's good. He's not good enough to win you a cup.
No.
Then the next story, I saw this. I thought this was pretty interesting. ESPN hired analyst Chine Aguwamike. I'm so sorry for butchering that name. It's got a G as a second letter. I can't pronounce this. But for those who do not know, she currently plays guard for the Connecticut Suns, and she also just signed a contract with ESPN, becoming a full-time analyst. So whenever she's not playing in the WNBA, she would be an analyst for ESPN, I'm assuming, analyzing the NBA games and whatnot, telling what happened. And then in the on-season, she's playing for my Connecticut Sun. So I thought she became the first ever full-time athlete and full-time analyst.
Actually, something I kind of want to bring up here. What if we did that with college athletes? Because you keep saying how, because you know what? You could technically label that as an internship. And, like, you know what? It's a paid internship. Like, the NCAA, like, you know what? Hey, we'll have them apply and, just, like, seriously. Like, you know what?
I think it's a great idea, and I think the NCAA would shoot it down.
Yeah, they probably would.
Because they're so greedy.
I mean,
It's like,
really.
I'm just
Sorry.
Like, give these kids some money.
And but see, here's the thing. It's not just giving them money because, oh, hey, look at me. I'm Johnny Manziel. I get money for doing basically Jack Daly squat. No, it's for breaking down plays. I mean, like, you could easily do this for, like, even, like, local, like, sports broadcasting.
And
games.
I'm sure it even help people understand the game more. So they're, like, analyzing film all the time and looking at it, giving their opinion.
But if you can't monetize your own YouTube videos that you edit and you upload and create,
they're like even college athletes, they're not allowed to like work as a they can't even work at like their dining service hall, because then they'd be getting paid and that'd be unfair. I'm like, they're making minimum wage at their own college and they're not allowed to do that.
Really, the NCAA needs to reform with what happens with student athletes. Because I can tell you this, like, I run track for Gordon College. We've established this many times.
Yes.
Ben runs track and runs cross country. Mm-hmm. I have a job. I'm pretty sure you have a job somewhere.
I actually don't have a job right now.
Oh, okay. Well, but see, here's the thing. I'm working, but I'm earning it. Like, I have to get certified to be a lifeguard. I have to prove that I was able to be a lifeguard for Gordon, and I'm getting paid for it. So, I mean, really, if you're really gonna shut me down and like, nope, you can't participate in track anymore because you're working and it's unfair. It's like, you know what? I gotta pay for this. Like, I'm not getting scholarship and like, I gotta pay for it.
And we're not playing on national television with millions of people watching.
I know.
Yeah, that's why, like,
so there's a big difference
between lax.
Yeah.
But like, do you want to, like, come on, let the guys run like a pizza route? Come on. But This was
again. I still like the idea of them working for like local sports broadcasting companies. Like, hey, you know what? Just why don't you come in, break down footage? I mean, make them apply, make it like an actual job. Because I don't think they're going to say it down. You know what? I have to fill out the application. I have to be selected. I have to be interviewed. You know what? If anything, that's going to help, them gain actual job, experiences. And it's one of those things where it's like you got to, give these kids more than just sports. I mean, okay.
Because a lot of them don't go on to play pro.
I mean,
a lot of them don't go on to play pro.
The best example I can give is like the athletes at, Harvard. They have to work their tail off to get into Harvard. I mean, and I have a friend right now who's in Princeton, D1 athlete, phenomenal athlete, and he's brilliant. He definitely deserves to be there. But he's complaining. He's like, yeah, I can't really do a whole lot of anything because, you know what? Every time, I get money, I have to make sure that, it's under the counter and nothing really happens because, But, seriously, I have to keep getting checks from my mom. And, I mean, thank God his parents, make, his dad makes 6 figures a year and his mom, makes pretty close to, 80, 90K.
That's good.
So, I mean, they're well off, but it's just he feels bad for his teammates, but especially the ones overseas where it's yeah, I don't exactly have a whole lot of money. I mean, they literally came in with what they got, and I mean, they leave with what they have. They didn't get anything new. So
we'll be getting into that a little later. Just the last subject before I get into the main one that I wanted to is the girls beach volleyball college championships happened yesterday. I was actually at a restaurant with my family yesterday, and we saw it. I thought it was pretty cool.
That beach volleyball is one of those sports where it's just everyone can enjoy.
It's hard.
Oh, it's incredibly difficult.
Yeah,
but
it's harder than regular volleyball because there's a lot more resistance. You're not playing on hardwood. You're playing in the sand. Anyone who's run in the sand knows how difficult that is compared to just regular running. It's hard.
The one thing I got ticked off with is that because the guys they wear shorts and no shirt, no problem, but the girls, they wore essentially a bikini, and there was a whole big fuss because it's degrading. It's a uniform,
But I mean, could they perform in
but that's
another
what
piece of attire just as fine?
I mean, but see, here's the thing. They all say, yeah, that's what we're comfortable with because it's, you're in the sun, you're on the beach, you're in the sand, it's hot.
It's their choice. It's their choice. But
Yeah,
I'm not trying to get into that right now. Instead, I want to say that UCLA beat Florida State for the championship. UCLA actually lost earlier in the tournament, was in the losers bracket, but came out of it and beat Florida State 3-1 in their final set. This was UCLA's first ever beach volleyball title. In fact, I think this is only the 3rd year they've been running the beach volleyball tournaments. But this was actually UCLA's 116th NCAA title in any sport. So hats off to the girls. I saw a little bit of it. They played absolutely phenomenal. And it's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably one of my favorite Olympic sports as well because I had my uncle. He actually was doing business in Beijing when the Olympics were going on, and he actually went to see the beach volleyball tournament.
Oh,
he said
the duo. I'm completely forgetting their name right now, but the U.S. volleyball women's duo.
Yeah.
They were the most dominant volleyball force in the entire.
Mr. May and Carrie.
Yes, those two.
Yeah, he saw them, and he's like, they were seriously some of the scariest athletes he had ever seen because they were just you don't think a whole lot of them, and then you see them, you're like, oh my goodness,
that's what I say. Is when I'm at a basketball game, I'm like, oh, these NBA players, obviously they're in shape. They don't look incredibly in shape, but it's oh, Blake Griffin, oh yeah, I'm sure he's in pretty decent shape. And then I was sitting at a Clippers game one time, top row, I could see the definition in his muscles from about 250 feet away, and I'm like, wow.
This guy has muscles in places I don't even have places.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Going on to, I think, the topic that my entire show revolved around, and I think it's an issue a lot of people have with sports, is why are sports biased? I'll give an example. Last week, I have the MLB app on my phone. Last week, a headline popped up said, Angels pitcher Shohei Ohtani will not be making his next scheduled start due to a sprained right ankle. Here's what we know. That article should be one sentence long. He has a sprained ankle. That's it. Why? The MLB, just determined that Ohtani would be the guy, and they cover every little detail about his career in life. And even this goes into something we've talked about before with the NBA, with every little thing LeBron does gets scrutinized. pictures he likes on Instagram become headlines on ESPN about what may happen in the next season. Even one time I remember, I wake up to watch SportsCenter one morning, and they're like, oh, LeBron's reporting for jury duty. Here are his Instagram pictures, and here he's doing his civic duty. I'm like, yeah, so have thousands of other people across. Well, granted, they are not LeBron James, but
And I mean, how many other
athletes
have done jury duty?
Plenty, I'm sure.
How many celebrities have done jury duty?
I'm sure there's plenty of them that were part of it. I mean, granted, they never got on a grand jury, but it's like it seems like in each one of these sports, like NHL is Sidney Crosby, NBA is LeBron, MLB is like Trout, Sohei Ohtani, and just other ones like that. Their lives get picked apart, and people complain. They're like, oh, like LeBron James always talks about this. Like for football, it's like Johnny Manziel at the time they were talking about, or Tim Tebow did Johnny Manziel did this, Tim Tebow did that. Like, okay, but why don't you talk about hockey or lacrosse or other legitimate professional sports?
Because LeVar Ball's another one, maybe.
Yeah, definitely.
Who's not even an athlete.
It's getting to the point where it's like if ESPN was actually able to cover more sports, I feel like more sports would make money off of it. And I mean, okay, lacrosse is arguably one of the most fast-paced games ever, and it's incredible to watch. And I mean, like college lacrosse is like D1 with like Duke, North Carolina, Johns Hopkins, schools like that. It's incredible to watch them play.
Oh yeah.
But yet it's just like, oh yeah, we're playing this on ESPN, and it's like not really a whole lot of coverage.
It's like ESPN3. You got guys who barely know what they're talking about. They're go pass here, and nice shot, and go. It's like, why don't you get guys who know? Guys that know lacrosse.
There's no homepage for lacrosse on ESPN.
Yeah, exactly. Like, home pages. We got.
Why do we have WWE on?
WWE is not a sport.
Okay.
There's a page for esports, but not lacrosse. Lacrosse is nowhere to be
found. There are plenty of talented and different athletes and sports out there. Why are they not covered? Like, I barely hear anything about the WNBA, but I've watched a few games, and though it's different from the NBA, it's still a very entertaining game. Like, women's college basketball. Like, men's get scrutinized down to the last detail. And they always talk about Duke, North Carolina. And then, like, WNBA, like, the
they
WNBA
talk about UConn.
Just as insane. You're like, oh, UConn here, and, like, look what they did, and, like, the Tennessee Volunteers. And I'm like, are you seeing what, like, Mississippi is doing right now? Are you seeing what Notre Dame is doing right now?
Actually, I was in Media and Society, was my comm class this semester, and one of the things that came up in our textbook one week was men's college basketball versus women's college basketball and how much the media pays attention. And of course, CBS broadcasts the men's tournament, ESPN broadcasts the women's tournament. And if you look at CBS's total tournament coverage, 6% of it is of the women's tournament. And then you go over to ESPN, and it's 36% of the women's. 36% of the coverage is of the women's tournament.
I mean, great.
So that's because ESPN is broadcasting it. They're covering it more. So if you go to their website or turn on SportsCenter, you're more likely to find it there than you would on CBS.
I mean, granted, it's not CBS's or ESPN's fault for this. Like, they're not inherently sexist or just pointing out, like, one particular player. It's us, the fans and viewers, that dictate what's going to be shown based on ratings and likes and whatnot. So in a way, I think like we're kind of at fault here for why sports are biased and only focus on certain things.
Yeah, I mean,
the media covers what they think we want to hear.
Yeah,
and it's a crying shame because I mean, like, actually, I think you can pull this up why why First Take doesn't cover the NHL. But literally, they're just like, oh, we're not really educated on it because we feel like the ratings aren't good enough.
I'll pull that up.
Well, yeah, I mean, granted, when I started this show, I wasn't very educated in hockey. I mean, I was a fan. I didn't know very well. But for the dignity of the show and me wanting to learn more, I learned about it. I read articles, and I tried to get
me.
I got Chase. I actually got someone who was a big fan of hockey, played hockey, and knew about hockey to help me out. I think that'd be better because
even if you just go to like these community pages, like, and you're like, because I'm with a group right now. It's called, it's like I think it's like I Love Hockey, and essentially what it is like it's literally all hockey articles. Like you telling me that some guy can't join this and kind of brush up on just like what the general like consensus is, and just like really what the fans are like it's just like, oh yeah, NBA, NFL, this, MLB did something. All right, yeah. So we're gonna play the clip of.
I talked about this briefly last week, but here's first take from May 1st of last year, and a fan tweeting in to ask a question.
Next up, a tweet for Stephen A. and Max. It reads, how come you guys never talk about the NHL? Hashtag Stanley Cup playoffs are so exciting.
Yeah.
Max, does he have a point?
Yes, the Stanley Cup playoffs are very exciting, and if the NFL rated better in the United States of America, we talk about it more. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Wait.
We don't talk a lot.
Did he say the NFL?
He did say the NFL.
Did he actually say that?
Obviously, he meant the NHL.
Obviously, yes, obviously. But go on.
A lot about baseball. I love baseball, but it's a very local sport, and nationally, what resonates is football and basketball, and that's what we talk about.
We talk about what resonates with the fans, what they clamor for. That's how we that's how we decide what we're going to talk about. And also, we have to be honest enough. Damn it, I'm not going to speak for Max. I'm going to speak for myself. I don't know too much about hockey. I'm not going to lie to anybody about that. Me talking about hockey is a stretch, and I do not lie to my viewers.
So you're what I heard right there is like, I don't know enough about it, so I don't talk about it. So you don't educate yourself on it?
You don't simply care enough. I mean, granted, even if you commit 5 minutes, you have 5 minutes at the end of a show to try,
or even just in the middle, just do oh hey, NHL roundup, just do this real quick, or it's just like spit facts about the NHL, like, oh hey, this person scored this, like these were the top 3 players of the week, what's your thoughts, what are big stories.
But even during the finals, like, which go on pretty much at the same time. Obviously, the NBA's on one night, the NHL's on another night, but it's all Warriors Cavs all the time. And maybe, here's a free agent signing in the NFL. Here's a quick update on the MLB. NHL gets no coverage whatsoever.
And it may not be exciting to some people, but I don't mind sitting through 10 minutes of hockey to hear about it. In fact, it'd be quite interesting, and I think that would bring in a bigger fan base about it. I've tried to cover a lot of sports, because granted, I could talk about the NBA all day. I could talk about the NFL, MLB all day without question, but there are more interest out there. I've tried to talk about swimming a little bit, the Olympics, NHL, and just general sport news that I found interesting.
And I'm going to be honest, I love NBC's coverage of the NHL. I think they do a phenomenal job.
Yeah,
Doc Emmerich's one of the best play-by-play guys in all of sports.
He actually has won multiple awards for that.
Yeah, he's fantastic. But starting a few seasons ago, NBC, and I don't know if this is to promote NBCSN, try to get it to the same level of ESPN or an FS1 or whatever, but games 3 and 4 of the Stanley Cup Final are on NBCSN. They're not on network television. And so and it's game 4 in particular, the fact that the Stanley Cup Final could be decided on cable, it's like NBC, come on. You have to put the entire Stanley Cup Final on network.
It's insulting because these guys, they work their butt off all season.
I mean, I can show multiple cases where, athletes are just NHL players are seriously the toughest athletes out there.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, seriously.
You got to get hit. You got to be quick. You got to have stamina.
I mean, who's the guy who was just coming out and said he played with the Sharks player, I think, with a torn MCL or something? And
go back to the
Bruins
shoulder. With the Stanley Cup. Patrice Bergeron played with a collapsed lung, cracked ribs. Let's see. He had a sprained ankle, I believe, and just the guy literally should not even been, he should have been in a hospital.
I heard one story
and he
about
literally
a guy who was declared dead on the bench. They revived. He was dead for 8 seconds. They revived him, and he got asked to be put back in the game. Why have I not heard about this before? But, half the time, on First Take and these other shows, they got to talk about LeBron's legacy and who's the greatest, MJ or LeBron. I'm like, look, I feel like that topic, I love that topic. There's always fresh views. Everyone has their own takes. But it's been choked to death. Every little bit of it has been squeezed out, and I feel like it's not even substance anymore. It's just people talking for the sake of talking.
All right. Yeah, so I got a video here. It's a video I found. I mean, If there is foul language, I do apologize. It's been a while since I've seen it, but pretty much what it is a guy who knew nothing about hockey went to a first hockey game, and he didn't even go to an NHL game. He went to an ECHL game, which is essentially the B League to the farm team to the NHL. So, not high quality players, but yeah, just listen to what he has to say.
Here go 5 reasons why the hockey world might have a new fan. 5. I don't really know about watching hockey on TV, but I know if you go to a hockey game, the stuff they do in between periods and stuff, bruh, they give so much free stuff away, I kind of felt illegal walking out the arena. I'm telling you right now, they give away vouchers. They give away hamburger vouchers. They give away shirts. They give away sweaters. Sweaters you can wear at night. Sweater you can cut off the arms in West Hood Gym if you want to. For that ticket price that I paid, you mean to tell me that I get to go home with a plethora of options? I can save some of this stuff for next Christmas?
Plethora of
yes,
options?
Yes, each other like by the collar, and then they just 1, 2.
He's talking about
3,
fighting.
4. In your mind, you be like, no, don't fight, because I don't want y'all to get injured, because I'm enjoying the game. But the other part of you be like, grab him, knock his head off, fight him back.
Like, seriously? This is his first time going to a game, and he's just like, you know what? This was all right.
Yeah,
I mean, seriously, like,
fun.
it shows you that if, you know what, you expose people to the diversity of, different sports, it's going to stick. I mean, like, I'm taking a rec activity analysis class right now. I had to coach tennis. I knew nothing about tennis. But yet, you know what? Tennis actually isn't that bad once you actually know what you're doing. I had to learn how to skateboard. I have no idea how to skateboard. But now I actually feel confident enough to try and learn.
My high school senior year, I had never seen a soccer game before that. But a good friend of mine, Sean, he was on the soccer team. He's like, hey, you guys should come out and support us. I went. It was great. I had a lot of fun. I got kicked out of one game. The ref kicked the whole fan club out because the players were taunting us and we were taunting them back. So we got kicked out of the game. That was a lot of fun. I love doing that. And, like, I even went to their championship game. And you know what? A lot of soccer players showed up to my basketball state final. And we're like, what? We just support each other back and forth. And it's great.
It just shows that, you know what? Once you're like field hockey, I've never paid attention to field hockey before, but I started watching it. I'm like, you know what? These are actually some pretty good athletes. And I mean, like the Gordon, field hockey team, for my knowledge, they actually did pretty good this season. And I mean, I know that they're kind of like a young team, and I know that they're like apparently like this the 2020 or the 2021 class is apparently one of the better classes for field hockey. So you know what? Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Mark Morris is taunting Embiid right now, saying 3-0, 3-0. Dude, you know what?
And you're down by 11 right now.
Yeah, just shut your mouth at that point if you're down by double digits.
All right, I'm sorry. I have to say this. If the Celtics win, I'm going to call a bar in Philadelphia, and I'm going to say, excuse me, is 0-4 there? Do we have an 0-4 here? 0-4 76ers suck!
Wow.
Just going to do that.
Yo, I would not mess with Philly. They call themselves the city of brotherly love. That is wrong.
Hey, remind me, what happened in the 2010 Eastern Conference semis in hockey? Can you remind me? What happened? The Bruins went up 3-0, and then what happened? I forgot.
Bro, you had such an easy life. What happened in the Super Bowl? You had that. You had Philadelphia beating Boston. You had that. Why'd you have to jump the 2010 hockey semis?
Because there's a relevancy there because they were down 3-0 and they came back.
What is this, the History Channel? You're talking about all like these great things in the past, but yet what have they done currently? Nothing.
2010. It's like
yeah, exactly.
Hey, the past would be like,
dude. When was the last time they won a championship? You weren't even born. You weren't even born. You were an infant. I mean, for heaven's sakes, David Akers, went off and said, guess what? Last time you guys won a championship, these people weren't even born. You weren't even conceived. So, yeah.
Yeah, if he wasn't born, he definitely wasn't conceived. They tend to go hand in hand.
Well, I mean, there's
I got to be careful because my parents were 5 the last time the Flyers won the Stanley Cup. So, that's...
Now, I know some, I will give Philly props. They have some of the best and most loyal fans in any sport. I know a few diehard Philadelphia fans I've gotten into very nice arguments with on Twitter, so...
I mean, for heaven's sakes, a Philly fan literally, like, they won the Super Bowl and he saw a giant pile of horse crap, and then he's like, you know what, they won, I'm going to eat it. And
we
have some of the best fans, we have some of the craziest fans, and we have some of the worst fans.
Yeah, they are just, they are They are
But
looters.
overall, we have the most passionate fans.
They're the most yes, they are passionate. That's
That's a
But-
good
let's
word.
leave it at that.
But
all right.
I will say this: Boston, it's definitely the best city for sports all around.
Oh,
I mean,
I
you know
agree.
what?
They're the best.
Bruins got how many teams that have won a championship in the past 10 years?
I think it's something like 37. Because I remember they did that comparison last year for the Super Bowl when it was Patriots Falcons, and Boston's like 30 something, and Atlanta's 1.
Yeah, the Celtics have how many championships? Like 18. Bruins have 7 Stanley Cups. Patriots 6 Super Bowls, and Red Sox
5 Super Bowls.
5 Super Bowls. Sorry, force of habit. And I mean, the Sox, they got I think it's around
7,
8
8
championships, and I mean at this point, how many people could get there are several teams in Boston right now that could win the championship within the next 5 years.
Absolutely.
With Philly, you got the 76ers and the
Sixers future
Eagles.
looking bright. Eagles.
It's going to be
They just won the Super Bowl. Flyers.
Can't do much better than that.
And-
we'll see how the Flyers do. They made the playoffs this year.
all right,
It's
for the ML
it's a step.
But for the MLS, they have the Philadelphia Union, and the last time I remember checking, they were actually halfway decent. So
Only bad thing is y'all got the Phillies.
the Phillies, they have.
Well, they're actually above 500 right now. So
But
obviously,
they're also
obviously
with
it's still
the
early,
same conference
but-
as the Mets and Nationals. So
Yeah, good luck.
Actually, 4 of the 5 teams in the NL East right now are above 500.
yeah, the NL East actually turning out to be a
Yeah.
really great conference. All right, but coming into the last 10 minutes of the show here, I kind of just want to do a recap on this entire year because let's be honest, we've seen some crazy stuff happen. Like we've seen history: a 16 seed beat a 1 seed.
Called it.
We've seen get over it. Get over it. Anyway,
how-
you're over it. And
I'm
then
not
we've
over it.
seen
I mean, I'm gonna hold this to
absolutely
your graduation.
crazy trades happen. We've seen multiple playoffs, multiple seasons come to an end, and honestly, it's just been an amazing year of sports. So, guys, I have to say, I can split this into 2 categories. I want to ask each of these. Ben, what was the most surprising moment for sports this entire year?
For me, it wasn't the fact that a 16 beat a 1 seed. It was the fact that a 16 seed beat a 1 seed by 20 points.
Yeah,
I mean,
that was crazy.
And
Virginia
let
just
alone-
disappeared, and UMBC came out of nowhere. And they gave Kansas State a run for their money, too.
They did. They did.
In the round
They
of 32.
did.
And-
So.
Not only that, I mean, this is the last time I'll say it on your show, I promise. I mean, I did call that, but I was not expecting that team. I was not expecting Virginia.
I think everybody was expecting Penn. If
Yeah,
anybody.
because they're like,
it was like, well, Penn's
Virginia, the
one of the
number
best
1
six-
ranked of the
16
number
seeds.
1 seeds.
Yeah.
I mean, UMBC, the last 16 seed, literally they had to fight to get into the dang thing. But
Chase, what about you? What would you say was the most surprising moment this year in sports for you?
most surprising moment in sports, I gotta go with the Super Bowl.
Eagles. Eagles.
I
winning.
know
Nick
this is
Foles.
I was not.
Yeah. Well, not really the Eagles for me, just Nick Foles.
I mean, in general, and I also gotta say, probably the other moment would be Minnesota beating New Orleans, because I was at an Applebee's watching that game, and I literally just saw that, and they had this much time. I'm like, they're not going for a field goal. You know what? Whatever. And I saw that cut, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And of course, my grandmother.
He got it.
Yeah,
Stephon Diggs, he got it.
And just he literally just stood there, and he's like, yeah. That just happened, and the composure
he's like,
he had, I'm like, oh, are you kidding me? I mean, dude, if I had scored, I'd literally be running end zone to. I'd probably run back the other way and just start losing my mind, and then just to make that moment even better, I'm like, we were with long story short, I ended up ordering a virgin strawberry daiquiri. It was not a virgin, so I gave it to my grandmother. And my grandmother was tipsy during that, and she kept losing her mind over the Vikings because she thought it was the Patriots. So you know what? That was a funny moment.
Tell your grandmother not to drink. But I'd say for me, at least, the most surprising moment was the Kyrie Irving trade. Honestly, it came out of left field. I knew Kyrie was going to be dealt. I did not in a million years think it was going to be to the Celtics, and I was very hesitant at first. I'll admit, I
remember that.
I did not want to give up Isaiah Thomas. I'm like, no, I was like, no, Isaiah Thomas is great. We can't give him up. But I'm like, Kyrie Irving, honestly,
He fits in the Brad Stevens program.
But that's another thing that proves Brad Stevens is a genius.
Well, that was
When
more
Isaiah
Danny
Thomas-
Ainge, but yes.
What did
Brad
you hear of
Stevens is
Isaiah
part of
Thomas
that.
this year? He's
Well,
been
he
hurt.
he's been hurt
He's
a
hurt. He's
lot,
on his second team
And
already.
then they're also just like, yeah, like he was kind of a ball hog. Kyrie, he can drop 17 a night. Celtics still gonna win. So, that was to me. But now
He definitely proved that he was the. Like, I feel like he's in the terms of just like being a team player. He's definitely better than LeBron.
oh yeah.
I mean, Kyrie can build a team. Like, he can be with the team, but LeBron is the team, and everyone else works around him. So, you know what? The Celtics got the better end of the deal. And, I mean, look at the, I think probably another shocking moment was the Cavaliers cleaning house after that whole fiasco they had. I mean, like, literally, I saw that roster. I'm like, that's going to be a super team. It literally, on paper, that should have been the team to dominate everything. Like, every team should have lost by 20. I mean, like, you saw that roster and you're like, oh my goodness, this team is insane. But yet, they played like garbage.
All right. Ben, favorite sports moment this year for you?
Take a guess.
Eagles.
Take it. Yes.
Eagles. no surprise there
Yeah.
coming from the Philadelphia fan. All right.
I gotta go.
Jeez.
I gotta go with Game 7 with the Bruins because, Coach Weichert, he's a very solid Leafs fan, and as soon as they were coming back, he's like, "Oh, my boys, the Leafs, they're gonna take it. I know they are. I mean, yeah, they're great." That's a terrible Coach Weichert impression. He's gonna watch this YouTube video.
That's 2 weeks in a row you've given him a shout out.
Yeah, I know. But it's just, I'm sorry, the Bruins, like, that moment, it proved that it felt good because, you know what, the Bruins, they always beat the Leafs, and the Leafs always fall short. And, I mean, the only reason they were still in that series was because of Frederick Anderson. I mean, he stood on his head. I mean, Austin Matthews played decently. Nylander played pretty well. And then, Mitch Marner, I mean, phenomenal. But Bruins were just better. And, I mean, it sucks now that they're out. But you know what? It was a good run. And, yeah, I'm looking forward to next season because I know this draft year is supposed to be pretty good. So.
Oh, yeah. I'd say my favorite sports moment, and obviously, I could honestly say the Eagles winning the Super Bowl. Like, that was great. But I'm not going to because that still hurts me. But
No, really.
I'm going to say
Y'all already won it 5 times.
Yeah,
We hadn't won it since
take a
1960
seat.
when there were 13 teams in the league and it wasn't even called the Super Bowl. So
So I
let
gotta
us have our
say,
fun.
probably my favorite sports moment this year is the whole story of the Golden Knights. Honestly, just
that's a good one.
seeing
Yeah.
an expansion team just rise up and succeed like that, no one ever saw it coming. Like, just seeing that is great. That is why you watch sports. Because honestly, it's amazing to see just a group of guys come together and dominate like that. Like, everyone loves an underdog story.
And
Everyone loves an underdog story.
you also have to think about it. Essentially, their roster is full of a lot of the only player they had at the beginning of the season who was supposed to be like a big deal was James Neal. And yet now he's second line for the Knights, but you got William Karlsson, Marchessault, and then you got Tatar coming on as well. And you know what, they proved that they got a team that can win. And I really think that the Vegas Golden Knights have a chance to win the Stanley Cup this year. And you know what? They have done so much for Vegas already, and I definitely think they're going to continue to be a hockey town because, I mean, it's not necessarily about the hype dying down. It's, hey, they're actually really good. And, I mean, again, the GM did a phenomenal job. Just, it's going to be a fun series. It's going to be a fun series. With the next one, at this point, I think Winnipeg's going to take it. I'm not sure about Nashville. I mean, Nashville's tired, I can tell. But you know what? I think they have a good chance of pulling it out. So,
All right. And if you two will, you can't allow me, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to get super sappy here for these last 2 minutes. It's been an absolute honor and pleasure to have this radio show for these 2 semesters. Honestly, I love this. Absolutely. This has probably been the highlight of my week for many weeks. I love preparing for it. I love reporting on everything, and it's just been absolutely amazing. Thank you to Scot Radio for allowing me to have this show. It's been a great opportunity. Thank you especially to my parents for listening in every single week. I think they've been my most loyal listeners. To anyone who have listened, just thank you so much. I know this is just
All
a small.
12 of you.
I know.
Hey, you know, I
know this is a small radio, and not a lot of people listen. But honestly, I don't really care about listeners. I just absolutely love doing this. Chase, thank you so much for coming on my show constantly. Ben, and thank you especially for covering last week. I had to go see Infinity War. That was just best. Thank you most of all to Savannah, my loyal tech director. She's been absolutely great, always here. And I'm sorry about the Spurs, but just hopefully we can work together again next year. Thank you so much for being with you. All right, it's 8 o'clock. I think this is going to wrap it up on the year. Good luck with everyone on their finals. Thank you once again for Ben and Chase and Savannah for, of course, always helping out in the booth. And, all right, this has been Bias Sports Talk. I'll see you next time.
Peace. Stay classy.